MSTC. This is Minnesota Black Road Regiment MBRR podcast. It's time for another drive time dialectic. While Jugalassis is here, as always, faithfully tuning in before the show even starts most of the time, folks. So yeah, here we sit. Before, I don't know why I do this before. I think I'm just waiting to build up the audience, for people to get notifications. But if you're watching this on playback, I would love for you guys to head over to the memberships and pick a membership level. Jugalassis has committed to supporting the channel that way, along with a bunch of other people, and I'm very thankful for that. And if you're just tuning in because the title is striking you, sub to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications if you would. Don't want to miss anything. Hey Sarah, thanks for stopping in. Then as you're getting your notifications, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. Let's say come back afterwards, comment on the video, push me up in the algorithm. Bib Polar Bear does that for me almost religiously now. He comes and comments on the video, even though he watches most of them live. He will come back and comment anyway, so that it does help with the algorithm. So shall we get started a little bit? On the evening of May 18th of 2024, here in the fine metro area, did I get a new car? I have a different car. The Traverse kind of took a clunk on me, and they tried to fix it, and 6 times now, and they've never actually gotten it right, and they still want me to pay them for it. So there's an answer to that question. But yeah, on the evening of May 18th, 2024, in Rochester, near the Apache Mall by the Shields entrance, near the, I think it's Starbucks, I'm Caribou, I'm not 100% positive. But anyway, there was a fatality, an accident. A young girl named Olivia Flores, freshly 18 years old, just weeks away from her high school graduation in Owatonna, was killed when a Minnesota State Patrol officer struck a vehicle, and actually struck 2 vehicles. And I have received numerous tips that the State Patrol officer, his name is Shane Roper, was driving at a ridiculously high rate of speed for the highway that he was on, that he was not running code, as the lingo says, and that the accident was completely avoidable on the trooper's part. And sorry guys, I just got off work, and I do this every time in this area. It must be because I'm going up in elevation. I don't know. The eyewitness reports that I have heard and had people report to me were that the trooper was completely out of line and was not running code. He didn't have any emergency indicators going, in other words, lights. And thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you doing that. I hope you'll share this out on the important Rochester pages. And like I said, these are reports that I'm getting from people who witnessed the accident. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because today the Rochester Police Department made an official announcement via their social media, Facebook in particular, that they have concluded the investigation into the accident. Now, why is RPD covering vehicular accident fatality? when in the state of Minnesota, the state patrol is almost always responsible for investigating motor vehicle fatalities. Well, it's because this fatality involved one of their own. And so Rochester stepped in and took over the investigation process almost immediately. Let's just say from the start, let's say from May 18th. And so today, June 20th, so just a couple of days over a month, Rochester finally announced that they have concluded their investigation into this fatality involving this Minnesota State Patrol Trooper, Shane Roper. Now, on June 5th, they announced that Shane Roper was being put on paid administrative leave. June 5th is when they announced it, is my best understanding. Now, I don't know if he was out sooner. I'm assuming he was, but that's when people in the area were notified that he was actually out on administrative leave. We did know that he was injured in the accident and transported to the hospital. We knew that almost immediately, but we did not know about his status and whether or not he was going to be working or whatnot. So, as I was saying, today they announced that they have finished and completed their investigation into the death of Olivia Flores at the hands, if you will, of the state trooper. Now, you would think that there would be some discussion then in this official media release that they were recommending charges, that they were referring it for charges. And the reason that I say that you would think that is because if you peruse the Rochester Minnesota Police Department Facebook page in the month's time from the accident where Olivia was killed, you would venture a guess that Rochester, Minnesota police don't have a problem giving you details about people who are being charged with crimes. Like, there's really no reason to think that they wouldn't give details. Because I did a rough estimate today when they broke the story that they were, or released this information that they were had completed the investigation. I said, well, gee, where's the rest of the information? Because there was a very contrite statement from Chief Franklin saying that, you know, his heart goes out to the family, which I think all of our hearts go out to the family of Olivia Flores. She is the victim here, no matter which way you slice this. But there was nothing other than this has been referred to the Olmsted County Attorney for a decision. Just think about that. They've referred this to the Olmsted County Attorney for a decision. But then when you scroll through their Facebook page, there's case after case after case after case after case where they give you minute details, very minute details about the individuals involved. They give you the names, they give you the ages, they give you the locations, they give you why they were stopped, what the call was. In one case, they talk about pulling somebody over and observing ammunition on the front seat on the floor of the front seat of the car, and how that led to, more of a search that led to, a bust, and on and on and on and on and on. They will give you tons of information about anybody else and what they're going to charge that person with before that person ever goes to an arraignment process. They will tell you that person's like social security number. They'll tell you that their birth order in the family, the projected death date of this individual based off of whenwillidie.com. I mean, they give you everything. They'll tell you this guy's GPA, GPA in college. And if he didn't go to college, they'll give you his GPA for high school or junior high. I mean, they will give you everything about this person. Like, think about this guy who was caught playing with himself on numerous occasions in Rochester, and like 4 times in less than 2 weeks. 4 times in less than 2 weeks, this guy was caught playing with himself. Caught and released literally on the scene. Like 3 times in 2 weeks. Like, I'm surprised they didn't tell you that in the course of the investigation, while writing the citation, one of our officers removed a tape measure from his vehicle, and we can assess that this individual's package did come in at an astounding 8.5 inches. Just something like that. They give you detail on everything. They will tell you that this person has a record or doesn't. But in the case of Minnesota State Patrol Trooper Shane Roper, nothing. Nothing about whether or not they're recommending charges, what charges they are recommending, if any. Just, we have concluded that our investigation, and we have kicked the can, turned the investigation over to the county attorney for a decision. Not a decision as to, to charge him or not, or what they're going to charge him with. Just, we're charging him, or turning this over to the county attorney. Folks, if this were you and I, if one of us, and if you look at the thumbnail of this video, it's the second time that I've used the picture that I've used, and I superimposed the picture into a screen grab of the Rochester Minnesota Police Department's press release. If you look at that vehicle, and if you know anything at all about state patrol vehicles, these things are heavy duty. Even their regular squad cars, not their SUV squads, but their squad cars are heavy duty. They are reinforced to the gills. They've got a brush guard, a push bumper on. A lot of you would recognize it as push protectors on them. They are heavily fitted. You look close at that thumbnail. I dare you to look very close at that thumbnail. And look at the damage that was done to the squad car alone, to that cruiser. Look at that cruiser and tell me that officer, that trooper, wasn't flying low when he hit those cars. Tell me he wasn't flying low. Because I will call you a blithering idiot if you can look at that and say, oh, he was doing 40 maybe in a 30. Maybe he was doing 40. Like, no. One of the vehicles involved every airbag in the vehicle. Not just on the side of impact. Every airbag in the vehicle deployed. It killed this young lady. Impact didn't kill her on scene. It didn't kill her on sight. She wasn't DOA. But she was in such severe state that even the Mayo Clinic couldn't save her life. 18 years old, weeks away from her graduation. And the thing that upsets me the most about this, one of the things I should say, that upsets me is that people have come out in defense of the trooper, which is what we see constantly in the case of law enforcement when they're charged with, are accused of malfeasance or are apparently involved in a situation that was avoidable or just in an accident. We hear all the time, this is the fault of the other people. Cops can't help it, they just have a job to do, right? And I want people to understand this. Olivia Flores and her friends are being blamed for the accident by the bootlicking sycophants out there that are back the blue at all costs, no matter what. I have seen people blame them. They were screwing around. They were teenagers. Nobody teaches kids how to drive anymore. I guarantee you they were messing around. I guarantee you they were being loud. I guarantee you they were driving distracted. I guarantee you, and on and on and on and on and on and on and on. People are bending over backwards without any facts, mind you, without any facts, saying it wasn't the trooper's fault, the victim is to blame. Now remember, we live in a culture, we live in a society where victim blaming, victim shaming is never okay. And it shouldn't be okay. Genuine victims should never be assigned guilt or blame when they're being victimized. They should never be blamed when they've been victimized, no matter what the circumstances around their victimization are. But people are blaming the victim and her friends for this, saying that there's no way the trooper could be involved. They were making excuses, and I hear this constantly. If you go to my channel, especially to my shorts, and you scroll through my shorts, you are going to find video after video after video just in the last year of law enforcement people driving government vehicles doing whatever the hell they want to do as they drive. Most recently, almost two most recent, is the chief of police of Lewiston, Minnesota, driving on the same stretch of highway near the mall, doing 10 to 15 miles an hour over the posted speed limit in her cruiser. Not a care in the world. She's not worried about getting pulled over. She's not worried about anybody stopping her because she's in an official vehicle. And then, more recent than that, I have video of a state patrol officer flying low, coming up behind me as I'm heading home from work. No lights, nothing. Doing better than 70 miles an hour, cutting in front of traffic and then pulling somebody over. With his lights, with no lights going. And here's what I hear. They don't always have to run their lights. They could, literally, I have people come into my comment sections on my shorts and on my other videos and make asinine comments like they could break the law to enforce the law. How else are they going to catch a speeder? Cops don't have to always have their emergency lights on. They don't always have their emergency lights on because if they have their emergency lights on, people panic. If they have their emergency lights on, people freak out. They do stupid things. They slow way down. Like, okay, mission accomplished, right? People will bend over backwards to make excuses for cops all day long. And that's what they're doing as they juxtapose the death of Olivia Flores at the hands of Minnesota State Patrol Trooper Shane Roper. Justify her death, saying that somehow her and her friends had to have been responsible. Look, and folks, I don't know the facts. What I do know is that I've had numerous people report to me that they witnessed the accident or have a very close friend that was there who witnessed, and that the trooper was driving like an ass. And I find that easy to believe with all of the evidence that I have on my channel of just in the Rochester area alone, where troopers and other law enforcement officers, other cops, drive like asses. Drive distracted. Speed when they're clearly not responding or of a criminal. They operate in what's really a 2 or 3 tier justice system. So when somebody tells me that Minnesota State Patrol Trooper Shane Roper on the night of May 18th was driving like an ass, like he owned the road, and that's what caused the accident, I believe it. Not because I witnessed it, not because I personally was there and saw it, but I believe it because I've seen it. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Look, we could talk all day long about whether or not ACAB is a legitimate response. We could talk all day long about back to blue. You know, we could talk about it. Are all cops bad? No, I don't think all cops are bad. Do I think that every cop deserves to be back no matter what? No, of course not. And you will find videos on my channel, in my video playlist, in the shorts feed that I have up. You will find videos where I call out in a positive way cops doing the right thing, doing good things. And I'll relate it to you this way. You take a person who grew up in a narcissistic home with narcissistic parents, and they come to realization with these narcissistic parents, like they were abused psychologically, emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever. They were abused their whole lives, but they didn't know it, right? They had no idea they were being abused by the narcs in their lives, by these cluster B personality disorder type people. Like, they didn't know they were being abused, and then they get away and they see other people are living their lives in a far different way, and pretty soon they wake up and they realize, like, what I grew up with, what I lived with, wasn't normal. That's not normal. It might have been normal for me, but that's not normal. So eventually they go and they confront their abuser, and they say to the abuser, like, here's what growing up in this home was like. And then they detail it. And the abuser's response is, well, you act like we never had any good times. And the proper response in that is that it wasn't that we never had any good times, it's that the good times stood out that much because of how bad the bad times were. And folks, that's the relationship that we are in with law enforcement. We are in a narcissistic cluster B personality disordered relationship with our abusers. And when you call them out for abusing us, when you call them out for the abuse that takes place every day, all year round, multiple times a day, maybe not for you, but for what's being done to other people, even people you may know or not know, when you call them out for that, they say, well, you act like all cops are bad. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the good cops, when you run into them, the actual genuine good cops, when you run into them, stand out that much more because of how goddamn bad the bad cops are. That's why when you run across the Detective Matt Thornton on YouTube and you see the stuff that he puts out every day, where he's calling out cops for constitutional violations, where he's calling out cops for being physically aggressive and abusive and verbally disrespectful and aggressive and abusive towards people and psychologically abusive towards people, and Detective Matt Thornton calls them out, people are like, holy crap, how does this guy still have his job? And that's a legitimate response, because you wonder, how does a guy call out bad policing every day on his YouTube channel and still have his job? And then you find out that he gets messages from people, anonymous messages from people on his social media, threatening him, saying, I'm a cop, and if I ever had a chance to deal with you, how dare you betray your blue line brothers? I'm like, he has that happen to him. So when you run across a Detective Matt Thornton, you've got to go, whoa, this is mind-blowing. Hey, MK, thanks for stopping in. Sarah, thanks. Oh, hey, Lou, thank you for being here. Folks, while we're taking this little break to say hello to people, please make sure you're liking the video, sharing the video. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you aren't a member yet, head over to my membership channel, side of the channel, and make sure you're hitting that membership option. So, folks, what we have is Rochester police willing to talk about every case where they arrest somebody. I mean, it's just like dozens and dozens of people in the last month. Dozens of people in the last month. And it's terrifying how much detail they'll give on everything, but no detail in the case of Trooper Shane Roper and whether or not they're going to charge him or what they're going to charge him with. And they're just kicking it over to the county attorney to make a decision on whether or not there's even going to be any charging. And I don't want Shane Roper's life ruined, folks. I really don't. I'm not looking forward to that. I don't want his family. I don't want his, I don't know if he's married. I don't know if he's got kids. I don't know anything about the guy. I don't want his life ruined. I don't believe that he maliciously set out. I don't believe that he maliciously set out to kill someone like Olivia Flores on May 18th. And I don't think he meant to hurt her or anybody that day. But what I do know is that I don't think that under the circumstances we're ever going to know what really actually happened. Because I don't know that we can trust Mark Ostrem, the Olmsted County attorney, to charge him, even if they have the evidence. And the other aspect of this is, what will we find out? What do we have a right to know as we the people? How much are they going to do to protect this trooper? How much are they going to do to make sure that this goes away? Because we're seeing that they're hiding details. If this had been anybody else, if this had been one of us, we would have been sitting in jail almost immediately. We wouldn't be sitting at home on paid administrative leave, still earning our paychecks. We would have lost our jobs because we would have been incarcerated and then released on bond, which everybody has a right to be released on bond. In very few circumstances do I ever think it should be taken away from somebody. But we would have been out on bond, and our employer would have probably terminated us. No pay, no severance, no anything. But no, this trooper gets to sit at home. And granted, he's probably stressed out, probably going through some... I went through an entire summer of being on paid administrative leave for speaking my mind on my podcast, by the way. Not impacting my job at all. And I was put on paid administrative leave for that. And then my former employer threatened to tell people the truth about what I really did, which, of course, there was nothing for him to tell anybody. It was an idle threat. But I know how stressful it can be to be out on paid administrative leave. But I don't know that I trust that he's going to face any charges, even if he's guilty of a crime. Because they're not going to they're not telling us anything. They're not releasing any video. or any of that. They're not releasing anything about what actually happened other than what witnesses are saying. And what I have noted is when somebody says, hey, I witnessed this, those comments disappear. And I would tell you to go back and watch my video about the mayor of Rochester, Kim Norton, and the Rochester Police Department, and the fact that they have called and intimidated, in at least one case, one woman who was asking hard questions about this situation, and told her it would be best for you to not form an opinion. If you have any questions, you call us instead of posting on social media. And that video is just from Friday. So we're left with, here's our options. They charge him and they tell us everything, and he's fired from his job. 2, they don't release any information and just choose not to tell us what actually happened. Or 3, they produce video evidence showing that the trooper was not at fault and it was the other cars. And it's going to be up to the Flores family, who have now already secured an attorney because they're tired of the investigation and not being told anything. That's it. I have no faith that if he actually did something wrong, that Mark Ostrem, the Olmsted County attorney, will actually charge him. I don't have any faith in that. I really don't. So folks, if you would please help me push this out, because I want people to be aware around the country. This is not just a Minnesota thing. This is not just exclusive to Minnesota. This is happening everywhere. This happens in every single agency. This happens in law enforcement. They circle the wagons constantly. So if you would, folks, please share this out, like the video, comment on the video, share it in your social media. We have a right to demand actual justice, even if it doesn't go the way that we think it should or the way we want it to go. And the trooper has a right to be presumed innocent by the courts. Doesn't mean we can't form opinions, but the courts have a duty to presume the trooper innocent. The legal system has a duty to determine and prove his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's their duty. We don't have a duty to not form an opinion. We don't have a duty to not say, here's what I believe from the information I'm getting happened. We have a duty to demand justice be done, and that we be given information as it relates to a public servant who very, very clearly was involved in the death, if not responsible for the death of an 18-year-old girl weeks away from her graduation, while the blue line circles around him and protects him from getting anybody in public getting that information about what actually happened. Because like I said, they will release information on every single case they can for the last month. And I'm going to put a link for each one of those in the description of this video later today. They will tell you everything. They'll tell you the IQ of people, but we can't know a damn thing about Shane Roper, Trooper Shane Roper. Trooper Shane Roper of the Minnesota State Patrol, Department of Public Safety. We can't know anything. We might get phone calls from the mayors at the mayor's direction telling us not to say anything. And this is coming from somebody who was on the inside for almost 13 years. They will do everything they can to protect this trooper. They will do everything they can to protect him from accountability. And I don't want anything bad to happen to him. But I do want justice. It's just funny how justice looks so different when you wear the blue and the badge and the gun, as opposed to what a justice looks like for the rest of us. And no, I do not trust the system to do the right thing. So help me bring attention to this story nationwide, if you would, folks. This trooper killed this young lady, and we may never get all the facts. Because damn it, they're trying really hard to keep them with us right now. Tune in tonight at 8 o'clock. I am having a Libertarian candidate for U.S. Senate running against Amy Klobuchar, and whoever the Republicans decide they're going to throw up. And throw up may be the most apropos discussion term I've ever used for a political race. But I'm bringing a Libertarian candidate for Senate, Rebecca Whiting, on my show at 8 o'clock tonight for an episode of Libertarian Lowdown to talk about her campaign and what makes her the best option for Minnesota. So I would encourage you guys to check that out, tune in, and listen in to what Sarah, I saw Sarah's name, what Rebecca has to say. And once again, please share this out. Do your best to help keep the story going and help bring justice to for the family of Olivia Flores. And if you haven't yet subscribed, like, hit the bell icon, notifications, share. And if you like the content, if you like how I do what I do and you want to see me keep doing it, head over to the memberships and help me keep that going. I really, really appreciate everybody tuning in. And I'm going to go run for a while before I hit the shower and do my show. So, I don't know, can you sing a song about Cheyenne and Lydia? I don't know what that's about, but I sing in the car, but I'm not going to do that now. But so yeah, tune in tonight. Until next time, my friends. I appreciate what you guys do. I appreciate the support. I love the fans and the subscribers and the followers, and that's why I do what I do. So until next time, fight for your freedom is yours. Fight for your liberty, it belongs to you. Say it with me: Sic semper tyrannis.